First ride on the holiday edition CRF. What's going on, guys? I hope y'all are having an outstanding day. We are on day, I don't know, 6, 5, video number 5. Anyways, we're doing Vlogmas, trying to release a video every single day until Christmas. God, it's cold. Why is it so freaking cold? It's also wet and cold. It's the worst. I hope you guys can actually see. By the end of this video, I'm sure it's gonna look horrible, but I had to go out and ride. I really wanted to get out on this thing. I did a holiday gift wrap job on my CRF 450R, and I think it came out pretty awesome. I'm sure riding out in the cold rain is not the best way to keep this wrap in good condition, but hey, what are you gonna do? Ride is the answer to that question. But oh, I love this thing. I'm so excited to kind of see what people think about it. So this is my 2015 CRF 450R. If you're not familiar with the channel, I did a whole build series on this thing, one of the most successful series of videos on my channel by far, only beat by the Ruckus build series, which was amazing. So if you didn't see that build series, you should totally go watch it. I'll link the playlist down in the description so you can watch the whole thing, taking this thing from completely stock to street legal supermoto as it is now. But this is the second supermoto that I've owned. The first one that I had was a 2011 Yamaha WR250. God, someone's exhaust smells terrible. 2011 Yamaha 2R. God, I can't talk. Oh, jeez. 2011 WR250X. That's what I owned. And the only reason that I sold it, well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the only reason, but one of the main reason that I sold it was that I wanted to downsize to one bike because we were thinking about moving to Hawaii at the time, and I wanted a more powerful supermoto because I also had an R1. So I was selling both bikes and replacing it with one more powerful fun supermoto. So that's why I got the 2015 CRF 450R. My whole channel is based on motorcycles, so having a lot of maintenance wasn't an issue. We were moving to Hawaii, so I didn't need it to be able to go super fast on highways and whatnot. It really kind of fit the bill for a bike that I wanted, because I just wanted it to be super powerful, super light, and a lot of fun. Now this was back in 2015 when I built the, or 2015 or 2016 when I built the bike. But as much as I like this bike, I wouldn't say that it's the #1 supermoto that someone should get. And the more I've been riding this bike lately in videos, the more I get that question. Like, seriously, all the time. Y'all are asking me, what supermoto should I buy? I really want a supermoto. And it's really hard to answer that question because for supermotos, it really depends on what you want out of the bike. Do you want to do highway riding? Do you want to ride in the city? Do you need it to be able to do a lot of miles because you commute? Do you just want something for the weekend that you mess around on with friends? Do you want to be able to go off-road a lot? Do you just want to do freaking wheelies with your friends in a stunt lot? Is it your first bike? Is it your first supermoto? There's so many questions that go into answering the question of what supermoto that you should get. That's kind of hard. It really depends on the person. But along with those questions, the biggest question you need to answer for yourself on the supermoto bike that you choose is, do you need it to already be a supermoto? Because there are a lot of bikes out there that you can convert into a street legal bike, like the CRF 450R, that don't come from the factory as a supermoto. There are a lot of bikes that don't even come street legal. So in this video, I'm gonna limit it to bikes that are only factory supermotos. And this is gonna be based for the US because, well, the bulk of my people watching my videos are in the United States. So if you can't get the bike, it kind of doesn't help. I'll probably make a separate video on supermotos. I'll probably make a separate video on the best supermotos that you can get that require you to actually convert it into a supermoto yourself, including ones that you would have to make street legal yourself. So if you want me to make that video, let me know down in the comments. But without further ado, here is the top 5 best supermotos that you can buy for the street. Number 5 is that ambulance. By the way, if I'm yelling, I apologize because I'm so freaking cold, I can't even think. Number 5, the Ducati Hypermotard. Now, in general, the Hypermotard has the stigma of, and maybe rightfully so, of not being a very reliable bike. But I have to put it on this list because it is, in my opinion, the most beautiful supermoto that you can buy. It's also one of the most expensive supermotos that you can buy. But good lord, man, this thing is amazing. Just look at it. Look at it. Now the Hypermotard is, well, it's there in the name, Hypermotard. If you just think about it, it's putting down a lot more power than any of the other bikes on this list. And it's really more geared for the street. I mean, Supermoto is already geared for the street compared to a dirt bike, but the Hypermotard even more so. It's not really the bike that you're going to be wanting to take off-road and messing around with your friends, but for all the street riding, it does all the stuff that you're going to want it to do. Now I used to actually hate the Hypermotard. I thought it looked super ugly, which is really weird because now I think it looks amazing. But I thought it was super ugly, and it didn't make sense as the supermoto that I had in my head. Something that you could mess around on the street, mess around off-road, and just not care at all about what you were doing to it. But the Hypermotard has a place, and that's why it's on this list. Number 4 is the DRZ 400 SM. Now, in the United States, the DRZ is one of the few bikes that comes from the factory as a supermoto, and that's why you kind of just have to put it on this list. The biggest gripe with the DRZ 400 is that it's carbureted, and that's not really a huge issue. But when someone asks me what they should get as their first supermoto, a lot of times they're young guys that are watching videos online of guys on supermotos, and they're like, man, I want that bike in my life. In all honesty, having a fuel-injected bike just makes things so much easier. One of the great things about owning a supermoto, let's just go this way. Oh, I probably shouldn't. Now I'm stuck behind this freaking car. One of the most fun parts about having a supermoto is that you just don't have to care about the bike. You can toss it around, throw it into a tree, drop it on the pavement, it doesn't matter. But then when you gotta worry about cleaning the carb and making sure that it's tuned, well, it kind of just takes away of the carefree attitude of owning a supermoto. But I have to put it on this list because it really is a great bike. It's a 400, so it puts out good power. It's made from the factory, street legal, in supermoto trim. It doesn't cost a whole lot. I believe the MSRP is about $7,200, and it really is an easy bike to ride. It makes good power, but it's not too much for someone to handle as the first bike or as the first supermoto. And since it comes from the factory as a street legal supermoto, the maintenance intervals are a lot shorter than you're going to get on something that you either have to convert or that's built as a much more powerful motorcycle. So there's number 4, the DRZ 400 SM. Number 3 is the Husqvarna 701. I get so many people telling me I should get the Husky 701 as my next supermoto. And you know what? I understand it. I completely understand it. And it is just oozing with power. Have I already said that in this video? Oozing with power. Jake, the garden snake, actually went out to California and they rode the Husky 701. And he had nothing but great things to say about that bike. And I get it, man. But here's the reason that I wouldn't put it higher on this list. Yes, it is super powerful. Yes, it comes factory street legal as a supermoto, but it's heavy. And this is another reason that you're going to have to answer the questions to figure out what supermoto you want to buy and what type of riding you want to do. Because for me, having something that's super light is one of the biggest factors on a supermoto. I don't want it to be something that I have to lug around. If I get stuck riding around in some random trees with my friends, I don't want to have to worry about, I love working on my gains, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to have to deal with lugging around a heavy bike, starting and stopping. It doesn't sound fun. But if you want a supermoto that you can commute on, that you can mess around on the street, that's got tons of power, and that has the maintenance intervals of a sport bike, the Husky 701 is one of the best options that you can get. Number 2 for the best supermotos that you can buy from the factory is, and this is going to surprise you, the Honda Grom. Now, it's not a real true to form supermoto, but it kind of is. And most of the people that you see riding the Grom are riding it like you would imagine a supermoto rider would be doing. You can mess around on it, it's cheap to operate, it doesn't have a crap ton of power, it's got enough, kind of, to do stuff. It's an easy bike to work on and improve. It comes pretty much, seriously, it feels like a tiny supermoto. The only problem that you're gonna have is that it's not it's not made for the highway. If you need to do any highway riding at all, it's not the bike for you. But if you're not doing long straights of 70 miles an hour, then the Honda Grom really is an outstanding bike. And you can pick them up dirt cheap used, so you can figure out if it's something that can work for you. And if not, sell it. You're probably not going to lose any money on it. When I was out in Hawaii, we rode with Kalani and Jordan Cody and Minute Stop. We all rode mini bikes. We had 2 Groms and 2 Z125s, and it was so much fun. It was the perfect bike for that. Like, I couldn't have imagined that being more fun on like an actual supermoto than it was on the mini bikes. We rode around the entire island of Maui. It was so much fun. And so that's why I say, if it fits the bill for you and what riding you need, the Grom is a really outstanding bike for that kind of riding. Plus, it gets like 120 miles per gallon. And at number 1, the best supermoto that you can buy, the WR250X. Now, unfortunately, Yamaha doesn't actually make the 250X anymore, but you can still get them used all the time because people are going through these like freaking bubble gum. That's probably a bad analogy because that's kind of saying that they don't last. Which is complete opposite. The WR250X is, in my opinion, the best true form supermoto that you can buy, period. Whether you need to convert it, whether it's street legal or not, the WR250X is the #1 platform for a supermoto. As a 250, it's just enough power to have a ton of fun on. Now, would I wish that Yamaha would make a WR450 from the factory? Yes. But it's literally a bike that anyone can get on, as long as you're tall enough. But literally anyone can get on that thing and ride it. Whether it's your first bike, whether it's your first street bike, anything, it doesn't matter. The WR50 is so easy to ride that I have no problem recommending that thing to anyone that asks which supermoto they should get, because it can really fit the bill for anything. I commuted 50 miles a day on my WR250X on the highway in Texas, where everyone's doing 70, 80, no problem. The thing can handle highway like a boss. It can handle little off-road stuff with your friends. Now, it's a little bit heavy for a 250, but it is a 250, so it's not that heavy, but it's heavier than my Sierra 450R. But the maintenance intervals on that thing are practically a lifetime. I think the valve check is 26,000 miles. I promise you, you're gonna get bored of the bike before you put 26,000 miles on it, assuming you're getting it with lower mileage, which now that it's been a while since they last made it, that might be a problem. It really is the perfect supermoto for anyone to start on, to figure out what they actually want out of a bike, out of a supermoto. Now, as I said, Yamaha doesn't make the WR250X from the factory anymore, but you can still get the WR250R, and it is literally the exact same bike except for sprockets and wheels. Buy some Warp 9 wheels for like 800 bucks for a set, throw them on the bike, and you've got a WR250X. Well, after sprockets, but you can figure that out later for what exact sprockets you want. You're gonna want to mess with the sprockets anyways on the 250, even if it's the 250X. So that's it. Those are the top 5 supermotos, in my opinion, that you can get street legal from the factory. Let me know in the comments what you think about these, if there's another one that you would recommend. Again, this is the United States market, and I know there's a lot of other bikes that you can get in other countries, but let me know. Again, we got videos every single day until Christmas. You guys have been awesome. I've been Motonosity. Remember, life's better with horsepower. Keep life live, and I'll see you guys in the next one.